So we need to work at the fear. And it's also connected to risk taking, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to take big risk, there are always two sides to making that decision. It's the actual risk. It's the risk you can make a spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
Here's some numbers, right?
Right. It's like the financial liability risks.
And then there's the perceived risk. And the perceived risk, if you have a lot of pain, if you have fear of abandonment or fear of betrayal, for instance, in your system, or if you think I have to go it alone because I always have, and now, okay, that $50 million risk, right? I did that, but now the risk is $500 million. Now that fear, it will kick back in like it's never done, right?
Right. Yeah, it comes back.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, so I like how you're doing it. It's like you're kind of like pushing up, but you're always going to have to face that fear.
Yes. And now you're building the leaning tower piece if you do not capacity engineer.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Remember You. This one's going to be fun. I have Monica Bozinov, former construction project manager turned capacity engineer coach for exponential leaders. And here we're going to learn real life how her program works and how it's worked on me and other people that she's worked with, drawing from her experience from building tall structures. She teaches that if you want to go higher in leadership and business, you must first dig deep. That's what you're going to learn to do today. Dig deep and support yourself with powerful operating system upgrades for your entire system. She helps high-performing founders, leaders, investors, CEOs identify and optimize their unique body and its purpose, strengths, and capacity so that you can navigate 3D change and with greater ease and stability. Today, we're going to explore often what falls short and how engineering your internal infrastructure allows you to lead with more flow, resilience, and impact without burning out. Expect this to be honest and real and learn something at the end. I will also have how to connect with Monica in the show notes for you so you can schedule a 15-minute conversation with her if it's something that is calling to you after listening to this. So Monica, welcome to the podcast and Remember You.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. This is going to be, as you said, so much fun.
Awesome. So tell us first a little bit about you and how your journey evolved from being an engineer to working with leaders and helping them expand their capacity.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not an engineer.
Okay.
However, I did work.
Project manager, right? Sorry.
Yes, I did work as a project manager. It was a position it required being an engineer. I got it on merits, but I've been in construction, and that's like one of the like foundational. Yeah, I started really early in life, like doing the actual hard work in construction, right? And then moving on to management, it changed. Like you see it differently when you lead the project or when you're like in the midst of it, right?
That's right.
And then when I moved out, when I did my own work and wanted to start coaching, I remember one of my coaches who was, you have to build your brand. And she said, like, what are you like, what are you doing now? I was still working part-time in construction. And I said, well, I'm a construction project manager, but that has nothing to do with this, right? And she said, no, that has everything to do with that. My boyfriend does that for a living. It's like the toughest job out there. She was like, she went all over the place. And I was like, no, it has nothing to do with that. But then over the years, as I started doing more and more of this work, doing deeper work, like more deep transformational work, I started seeing like, whoa, I actually see human beings as structures that have their own unique architecture, right? And you cannot use the same materials if you're building, a skyscraper and if you're building a teepee. Right?
That's right.
Structures.
True.
So I started seeing the whole, like, every person is unique, but they have, like, we can identify certain patterns, and that informs us of what the work is that has to be done.
Yep. Yep. And each person, you're saying, if I'm understanding you correctly, like each person kind of is built out of their own material and has their own secret sauce on how to expand what they're made of so that they can reach their highest potential.
Yes. And for the longest time, like another coach that I worked with on the whole, like, branding and marketing stuff, right? When I said, well, I work with nervous system. And she said, no, you can't say nervous system. No one gets that. Say mindset. And I was like, I'm not doing mindset. Right?
Yeah. Mindset's so different. I guess mindsets to me is like when somebody says the difference between hypnosis and talk therapy. Like, talk therapy is mindset work. Hypnosis is so much deeper.
Exactly. Right. And back then, no one talked about nervous system. Now it's kind of a buzzword, right? It's like, I will help you reset your nervous system. Let's do cold plunges. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. So a lot of people are using that word or those words right now, but very few really have an understanding of how unique every person's wiring is.
And what does that mean to you? Like, when you say that?
That the nervous system, we know now how different our brains are. A lot of people are talking about that, right? Different wiring in the brain creates brains that will, perform very differently, that will experience the world very differently. And it's the same with the nervous system. So a lot of people that are in, like, leadership today have understood, I need to bring my heart into my work, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, there's this amazing thing, my heart. And then they make that there's this mind-body connection, right? And we have the Heart Math Institute that does amazing work around the heart. Right? And then we have people like you, Christina, like, you've been walking around all your life with your heart wide open.
Yeah, and we found that out, didn't we?
And that's a very different place to be. So the person that always operates from the intellect, because that's a safe place to be. And then occasionally they dip into their heart and now they feel like, whoa, I've gone deep. And then for you being like, yeah, I go out into the world every day with my heart open and it hurts and I forgive and I move on. That's a very different place to come from.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk through a little bit about how you figure out, as you're working with somebody, like, we can use me as an example, what your capacity engineering looks like and how you kind of work with the person at a high level to understand, where their structure is and what they need to expand. And we can, like I said, you can use me as the example.
So most people that I work with, just like you, have done a lot of personal development. Many have done extensive therapy. They have had coaches, like this whole range of coaches.
Yeah.
They have a very high level of awareness. But they have also, there was this wonderful phrase I heard the other day. People in academia have, like, their algorithm is bias.
Yeah. That's good. I might steal that for my next article.
I don't know who I stole it from, but it's brilliant, right? So we have been so conditioned, and it's not just like the educational system, but it's also the family that we came from. There's this phrase called human domestication, because I work with people and they say, some of my clients have had, like, struggle and dysfunctional families that they grew up in, right? And then there are others that come to me and they say, Monica, I had a happy childhood. I had a good life, right? I don't have trauma. But and I usually use this example, if you are that artsy, feely kid, right, that want to sit and pet the dog and draw all day long. I said this on a different podcast, and the person said, get out of my head. And you are born into a family of accountants, and they will be like, hey, come on, get going. Let's get going. You can't draw all day, right? You have to do something. So now that 4-year-old learns that, okay, who I am is not really going to
it's not going to bring me anywhere. It's not going to do anything for me.
So I have to become more like them.
And it's also a belief, right? That's what's going to keep them safe because their parents or whatever are setting certain expectations that they need to live up to. And so what I'm hearing is they kind of disconnect from like their true potential and self and then become something that somebody else wants.
Yes. So it's not so much the saber-toothed tiger as the actual environment you grow up in. A child gets, they want love, they want safety, they want belonging. How do I get that? Right? I become like them. We all do that, right?
Well, that's human nature, right? Like if you put a baby, like a, 12-month-old baby in front of a TV and that there's people dancing in front of it, that baby's going to start to dance and mimic because that's how he learns or she learns, right?
It's even like facial expressions, right? If I do this, then I get a reaction, right?
Yeah.
We all go through this and it serves us, right? Because we get that family, we get that belonging, and it serves us in the educational system. It serves us getting those first few jobs and, climbing in the hierarchy. But at some point, it starts feeling like there's something missing.
Yeah. And it's like, it happens to, I'd say maybe that's what goes on in most people's late 30s, early 40s, where you're kind of like, okay, I've checked all the boxes off, or at least tried to, whatever, of society's norms. And it's just not working for me. And I feel like I've lost my power and somebody else is directing my life.
And then when people come to me, it's like they are successful. They have done a lot. And it's like there's one out of two situation. It's either someone around them. It's usually people don't find me on their own.
Right. Yeah, that's right. No, they don't. You're very hard to find. You're the best well-kept secret out there.
So when people send people my way, right, when the people that know my work, so it's usually former clients or people that we have connected because they work with the type of people that I can help, right?
Yeah.
And there are usually 2 points. So I call it either it's build for load. So say an investor sees, okay, I am going to invest in this person. I'm going to throw $5 million, $5 billion, 100,
so I'm part of a syndication group and, we have the smallest checks are 5,000 and then they go way up, right? Each person is putting that in. So it could be even they want to diversify and they're investing in smaller amounts.
Yes. Right. So I am going to throw money at this person because I believe in this. This concept, they want to be safe. And the biggest risk, if you have all the money you can dream of, right? The weakest link becomes the person who is supposed to carry it all.
I've seen it. I know it.
Yeah. So they go, okay, this person is going to carry so much more load. We have to prepare. And that's what I call it, deepening and widening the foundation and then reinforcing the load-bearing walls. And now you can build taller. Now they can carry that load. And then if that didn't happen, sometimes I get in a little bit later. And that's when what I call the leaning tower situation.
Yes. Talk to me about that. So what does that look like?
That is when, I would love to say that we're all like the Eiffel Tower and you can just build taller. But most of us have more in common with the Eiffel Tower, right? Yeah. And try to build that taller. Doesn't work so well, right? Okay. So what you see is there could be volatility, right?
Yes.
Shouting in the C-suite room or in the boardroom. Decisions are not happening at the pace they need to, right?
Yeah.
Where this key person comes into the office Monday morning and clearly is not ready to pick up the ball and run with it again, right?
Right.
Things are slowing down. Things feel off. This is not how this person usually reacts. And also this can happen for it's not necessarily about gender, but it's also about the wiring. But also, you have that founder who could potentially be female that is also like always on time, always helps everyone, because that's how we were like very much conditioned, right? Always helping everyone, always delivers on time, and everyone is going, whoa, she is so amazing, right? And what they do not realize, because everyone is kind of like drawn to that flame, and only in hindsight, when everything crumbles and there's that person, the flame is gone and she's burnt out.
Yeah, the spark, it's gone. I was just talking to a woman who I'm doing hypnosis with, and she owns a very successful company, and she told me, my spark is just gone.
As long as they had the spark, everyone was going, yay, this is amazing. Let's push this person. Let's help this person. Let's support this person. Let's invest in this person. And they do not realize what they're watching is a burnout in real time.
Yep.
Then after the fact, it's like, oh, see, now we have a mental health issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was supposed to be a mental health issue, right? She needed the support. And that's what I mean. Like, that's my whole point with capacity engineering. We have to prepare for the growth. We have to widen the foundation. We have to reinforce the structure so that the key person can carry. And that is not mindset work.
Yeah, tell me about, so I know when you and I first started working together, you told me about kind of the average, probably 2% of the population that is kind of risk takers, and how you figured out by creating playgrounds. Yes. What I want, you kind of, and this will kind of go into like why we really need that capacity engineering, right?
Yes. So it's the story of the boy who climbed higher. And I was in construction. We worked with schools, and it was, you've probably seen this material, like the soft rubber that is under the climbing frames and the swinging, what do you call it? Like,
yeah, the slides and the swings and the monkey bars. Yeah. So instead of here it's like, and everybody for listening, we are really excited because Monica is across the pond. She does not live in the United States. And actually, English isn't your first language, is it?
No.
So she's awesome. Let's just say that. Awesome. Anyways, so yeah, we have like wood chips at a lot of our parks, but you created that more like rubbery, easy material. So if you do fall, it kind of protects you from that impact a little bit, your kid.
Right. So this was, it was launched. This was a brand new product, and it was launched. And so I live in Sweden, and Sweden, all about safety. Volvo, it's ugly, but it's safe, right? So this was like, okay, this is what we're going to have like in all the playgrounds. And the first one opened, and it was like, yes, we even put in the soft rubber. So now the children are safer, right? And we felt really good about ourselves. And then like one weekend, we get this phone call from, the principal's office. Hey, we have a kid in the emergency room with a broken leg. And we're like, oh, weird. That's an anomaly, because we made it safer.
Yeah.
Right? Not our fault.
That's great.
Right? Second playground opens up. 2 weeks in, we get a phone call from that principal's office. Hey, we have a kid in the emergency room with a broken arm. And we're like, that's a weird coincidence. And I even had like one incident where the kid that fell and broke his leg was the son of the landscaper who put the soft rubber in.
Wouldn't it be fun to follow him and see where he ended up?
That's a story for another time. But then like this pattern, right? And pattern, here's another phrase I stole the other day. Patterns don't lie. So we started seeing this pattern, right? It started happening. And yes, the soft rubber made the playground safer for most kids. But in every playground, in every school, right, you had one or a few children that were like, smart kid, couldn't sit still.
Yep.
Risk taker, love the intention. This kid went, whoa, falling doesn't hurt anymore. Wonder what I can do now.
I love this story.
You may be you might even self-identify, right?
Oh, I self-identify, yes. I mean, give me a car and let's see how fast it'll go.
So for that kid, it wasn't safer. It was until it wasn't, right?
Yeah, because that kid's jumping off and like, oh, it's okay, it's safe. And then let me see, like you said, the kid that went higher, let's see how high I can go.
And how much attention I can get from the other kids, right? That would never even try that one, right? Yeah. And that's my whole point, that for the average population, and especially back in the times when we had incremental change, you had leadership, coaching, you learned like organizational theory, like, like you would get education and support as you grow gradually, right? But now that wouldn't be enough even then for like the once in a generation founder. But now, like that once in a generation founder, they're all over the place, and everyone who has money to throw at them is throwing money at them. Right? And they expect the results. Yeah. And the
stress and I don't know, maybe it's not stress, you have probably a different word, but like the pressure of it all, the body can only take so much of it.
I call it capacity under strain.
Yes. Okay. Go through that then with us a little bit.
When you build a building, you have to know how tall you're going to build and what's going to be in that building. Like, are we having people in that building or are we having heavy machinery, right? Because
and let's pause there for a second. And this is kind of where when most people sit and think about like a vision, right? Mm-hmm. So if you just are out there willy-nilly and you're investing or you're a founder and you're kind of like, well, I have this kind of idea, just like building, but I really like fabric. And so I'm going to build my building with fabric and like put some posts in it, like build a teepee. Okay. And then all of a sudden someone comes in that's investing and is like, well, I don't know, like you probably need to make some like extra room. And so then you start pulling your fabric and you haven't really thought about like, oh, well, as I scale, this isn't going to work.
Yes. Or you're envisioning a skyscraper and your mentor who's been he's been building teepees for 40 years. And now he goes, oh yeah, you want to build like tall and slender? Okay. Like I know how to do this. Trust me, because I've done it. And like now you're getting into trouble, right?
A lot of trouble. Because you're trying to put like two things together that just don't work.
Yes. And that's why these leaders, they need more than the standard support because they are building something that has never been seen before.
Yeah, especially the unicorns, yeah.
And they see things that no one has ever seen before. They see around corners. And as success grows, right? Visibility increases, scrutiny increases.
Yeah.
The expectations like, okay, you made it to this level. Now let's take it to that level, right? And the foundation has not been deepened. The load-bearing structure has not been reinforced. And that's the nervous system, right? So now we dig deep into the nervous system and we see what do we have. And now we look into like conditioning, domestication, all of the things that you have been taught. This is how we build teepees, right? It's like, yeah, okay, we have to subtract that teepee thinking. Yep. And now we have to see what's really like, what is the capacity you have? What are you able to carry? If you, like, one of the biggest lies we tell our children is, oh, you can become anything you want to be.
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah, what does that mean?
What does that even mean, right? And you can't, right? Yeah. Because as a child, you will start looking and see like, oh yeah, my aunt, she's a lawyer. I want to be that. Right. Because I love her so much.
What we don't say is, most of the time, is what lights you up? What is it? A lot of parents, I bet, don't even know that question about their kids.
And you can't be anything you want to be, but you can be everything you are. And so that is where we delve in. What is it in you, right? What do you have? What are your strengths, right? And so we look at the nervous system, the anatomy of the nervous system. And now we come back, right, to where we started. So like for you, you have a big emotional center, which is like the seat of like both creativity, but also like deep intuition.
Yeah. And since working with you, I've been really tapping into that through different types of meditations and stuff that I've been doing. And I have gotten to a point, this is going to sound really weird. But everybody here listening already knows I'm really weird. I've gotten to a point where I can think of somebody and they will literally call or text. It's almost like I'm telepathically talking to them. Mm-hmm. And when you start to tap into that, then I'm able to make some better decisions for myself, because I'm like, help me know this. And I have like this program that I go through. Mm-hmm. And I've been working on like, is it a hell yes or a hell no? And help me feel that in my body.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that has to do with entanglement, which is a real thing, right? Once we really connect, and because your nervous system is wired for deep connection. You're like really wired for deep connection. So you can do that. You don't use like this, like I can see your path, that kind of intuition, right?
No.
Which is meant only to be used for you. But that emotional intuition, like that's big. That's connecting. That's sensing, right? Mm-hmm. And then you also have the top heavy part.
Yeah,
where like you're the visionary. You can see like you're one of those people, you can see things that don't exist and they're so vivid to you. You can take this idea and you can like, whoa. And then you share it with people and they go, huh?
I did it yesterday with my husband on a walk, and he's like, dude, you come up with the most amazing ideas, like shit that I can never even think up. Like, how do you come up with that stuff? He's like, but you need somebody to make the vision happen, because like you just start talking about it and then you're like on to the next thing.
Yes. And that's what, in a traditional support, like someone who would guide you in a leadership, right? They would probably say, hey, Christina, look, you have to put everything down on a spreadsheet and now you have to put everything in place.
Yes.
Like, no, you don't do that. You hire someone to do that.
That's right. It is. Yeah. It's so true, because that drains my energy.
Yes. And that's the person who had this massive insight recently that, oh, you know what? There's this connection between the mind and the heart. She's that integrator, right? She's the one that she can understand your idea because she has a brilliant intellect. And if like she has the courage to go into her heart, now she becomes a way more powerful leader, because now finally people can feel her and she can take that vision. She can put it into like a graph or a spreadsheet or whatever. And she can talk to the entire team and she can say, you need to go here. You need to do this. And no, stop doing this. We have to do this first. And she will support you while you are you're the visionary and like the intuitive, like you can like bring in all of those resources, right?
Yeah. Because they know that I'm being authentic, I guess. Yes. They see that because I'm allowed to be able to have that and not be like drowned down with all this other stuff that like stresses me out.
Yes. Right. So that's the work that I do. Like I listen to people and I listen to their words. I'm like, oh, right. And I see their anatomy, like I see their physical.
Oh yeah, that's fun. You taught me some cool stuff about that. We got to go there, but I'll let you finish.
But that's like, a lot of the work that I do is listening. Like that's the most powerful thing you can do, right? Listen to people and take them in. You know this because it comes so natural to you. It doesn't come natural to most people.
Yeah, that's right.
We've been taught, you have to talk. Come on, you have to talk. Say something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and me, I'm like, my family makes fun of me. They're like, I'm pretty sure you're not from like this earth because you don't want to talk and you think we can like read your mind. And I'm like, but can't you just feel the emotions?
But that is actually a very common experience for people that are like, I call them top heavy, seventh chakra dominated, these idealistic people that also very often very spicy wiring. And they will tell you, you know what? Like, honestly, I'm an alien.
Yeah. And that's so not true, but it's like you just kind of feel that way.
Yes, that's how you experience the world, right? Like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Right? So, like my husband, as a child, he grew up like in the rural, like on the Balkans, in a very rural area, and he was convinced. He said he tells me, I just knew that my parents, they had left me on this planet, and I didn't know why, but I knew that they would come back for me and they would explain everything, right? And it's like, oh, honey, you're top heavy.
It's like you feel, you say that because you feel like you don't have a belonging here. And then like, as people work with you, myself, you feel more grounded and you realize that we are here to have like this human experience and we need to ground and root ourselves here too.
And the purpose, right? Purpose isn't what you do. It's how you show up. It's how you experience the world. And if you do not have a context for your experience,
like a frame,
you need a frame, you need some context, and then you can interpret and you can get perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's the difference between like perception and perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you need the perspective, you need the context to understand what's really going on. So no, you're not an alien, but you have this massive ability to visualize, to see, like to see things, to take ideas out of thin air, right?
Mm-hmm.
And make them real. These are the Einsteins of the world, right? We need those people, right?
Yep.
And then we have people like you that are feelers as well, right? You have both of them. So you have the feeler as well, right? You can connect with people, see them, have the world, like take in the entire world and feel. And people like, I can be with you and not feel judged at all.
That's
and
right.
Just that in itself is so healing, right? How often do people have like moments like that? Not very often. And like being able to love even like the most horrific thing happen and being able to forgive and heal yourself and others and move on. That's powerful. And it's very like undervalued today.
Yes, it is. It is. And I think it's, we could go really deep into this, but it's something that needs to continue to happen. I have a friend who does like divine feminine healing and different things like that. And it's like opening yourself up to love and forgiveness, and healing is going to be kind of like the new paradigm as we move further into kind of this transition that I think a lot of us are going through with our DNA and stuff like that. And I want to talk to you about so much of this.
But, and then like, because you instinctively know, right? Okay, love is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to what's really important, love is the most important thing. Not all of us experience that, Christina.
I know.
Right? So then we have the people that have power of word. They tend to be like very driven, will die for their cause, but it's all about winning. And now that can go into like, I want to win more than anything and I'm willing to do everything to win. Or it can be the more like aware, I love to win. Let's create a really good win-win. But that's a conscious choice, how to use that power, right?
And that's where your capacity engineering really comes in. It's like, how do you take that, and that's your strength, and expand it so that it doesn't become your weakness for a way, like the crack in the foundation.
Yeah, there's a light and a shadow to it. If we take that person with power of word, right, that is very charismatic, that loves to lead, that leads by inspiring and motivating, right? If they go into the shadow of like, it's my way or the highway, there's not a boardroom or a C-suite room that can contain them. Right? Because they will manipulate. That's a dark side of inspiration and motivation. The dark side is manipulation, right? Or like for the feeler, right? The dark side is like, oh, I feel so abandoned and no one loves me and I'm the victim in all of this. And I choose to not take a responsibility for my life because they should have done that.
And it's true because it's like something we worked with, right? Like it's that abandonment that sometimes creeps up. And then I start making, for me, at least in my kind of area, I make them maybe decisions that aren't right because I'm like, I have this fear of abandonment and it's the opposite of my light side.
Yes. And now say you're a founder, right? And you're a feeler. And now the stakes are getting higher and higher and higher. What if, and that fear of abandonment comes up? Well, what if they abandon me now?
Yes.
Right? Or you're that high stake, I'm going to win and I can talk people into anything. And the stakes are getting higher and higher and higher. And now you're like, whoa, if I fall now, I'm going to fall really deep and everyone is going to watch. And now, instead of inspiring and motivating, they start manipulating.
Yes.
Right?
And that, I see that happen in more cases than not. In like high stakes, high investment situations.
Yes. And that's what capacity engineering is all about. It's building before load, right? It's preparing for that load. So we have to work on the fears. We have to do the shadow work, right? We have to deal with the perception of betrayal that they usually they have that really, it's one thing that I listen for, right? Do people say, yeah, my mom betrayed me, right? My brother betrayed me. Now I know I have this very charismatic leader, can motivate and inspire, but if the fear takes over, they will manipulate. So we need to work at the fear. And it's also connected to risk taking, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to take big risk, there are always two sides to making that decision. It's the actual risk. It's the risk you can make a spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
You're seeing numbers, right?
Right. It's like the financial liability risks.
And then there's the perceived risk. And the perceived risk, if you have a lot of pain, if you have fear of abandonment or fear of betrayal, for instance, in your system, or if you think I have to go it alone because I always have, and now, okay, that $50 million risk, right? I did that, but now the risk is $500 million. Now that fear, it will kick back in like it's never done, right?
Right. Yeah, it comes back.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, so I like how you're doing it. It's like you're kind of like pushing up, but you're always going to have to face that fear.
Yes. And now you're building the leaning tower piece if you do not capacity engineer. And it will start leaning, and people like the investor will start getting nervous because what was that text he sent me? The C-suite room will get tense. There will be yelling and blaming and crying, right?
And a lot of times investors don't even know that's going on because it's being hidden from them. So they have to take during board meetings or whatever, take the kind of how's the person behaving? What are their numbers looking like? I don't see this very often, but it's like, maybe boardroom needs to do a 360 review on the CEO to understand is this happening, and how do we get above it before it comes to a mental health issue.
Yes, and also here's what's happening. Everyone else in the C-suite room or everyone else in the boardroom that may start getting they are scared too.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And now it's like, yeah, but guys, he's, and then we get but he's special, right? He's
he's a founder. I hear that all the time. That's how they act. They're founders. And I'm thinking, no, they don't have the capacity to do this anymore.
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth, right? See? That's what's happening. They do not have the capacity because no one has made sure, no one has said, hey, to go to the next level, you need, like, there needs to be an upgraded nervous system. We need to make sure we take away, like, what are the patterns? What are the fears that exist in this nervous system? Let's make sure we minimize that, right? Because now when the fear becomes smaller, the risk doesn't seem as big. So now we feel safer.
That's right. And there's also this kind of place where you're bringing, I saw you do this with me. So it's like you have to understand what your kind of positive side or bright side is and what your kind of negative or shadow side is, and know when you're kind of moving over here and be able to bring yourself back into balance and make decisions from that balanced place.
Yes. Breaking news. I meet a lot of people that tell me that they have done shadow work. And maybe they read the book or they talked through it, right? They haven't done the actual nervous system rewiring around it. And unless you use some kind of energy psychology tool to do shadow work, you haven't really done shadow work, even if you understand the theory of it, right?
That's right. Because you can say you know it and like, oh, I know I have this fear of abandonment, but you don't really know what you're doing subconsciously, and which is all driven by your nervous system.
Yes. So we have to do the rewiring. It's not enough to have the cognitive awareness.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why, like, I hear people throwing out shadow work all over the place. But until we had like real energy tools, we didn't really have an effective way to do shadow work.
Yeah. I'm going to switch gears for 1 second. So I know when you taught me about like people's long necks, eyes, like, can you talk through just a short overview of how you just can look at somebody and kind of know where they fall?
Yes. So this is the cool thing about the nervous system, right? It actually shapes even your physique.
Yeah. This is so cool. When I learned about this, I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah. So like you having that emotional quality to you, like when I look into your eyes, they're just wide open and they take everything in. It's very representative of how you experience the world. Everything is like a sensual sensation to you. Music, colors, right? Connection, animals. So when I saw, especially when I saw like the photo of you on the website, I was like, oh, look at those eyes. So you have different, and then you have the long neck, which is like that idealist, that top heavy person, the visionary. They have this. They're often long and slender, not always, but often, like their energy moves up and they struggle to connect down, right? Don't want to be on this earth, right? I want to move up because it's way funner up there, right? But like if you're building a business, if you're a founder, you have to bring the energy down. So I have a lot of those, like when I look at someone, I'm like, and very often, like I see people that they will behave as a team player because we get so much, like everyone loves a good team player, right? And then I see someone who has a very a body that is very quick movement and maybe quite slender, right? And I'm like, that's not a team player. A team player, a real team player, the person that loves to drive you to the airport, right? They are solid. They're
like the protectors.
They're the protectors, right? And they go like, oh, you're going to the airport. I can drive you. And you're like, you want to waste your, I can get,
yeah.
Right? Like, you don't waste your time. No, I want to. Because they love serving, protecting, being there for others. You ask them, like, what are you thinking about? And they go, what are you thinking about? Right? Because they are those, they exist to serve, but they can also be very powerful. They can be that general that holds an entire army, right? So it's not a weak energy. We often mistake it for a weak energy. It isn't. But if you are the person that loves to win, and now you start behaving like a team player, you're losing your energy because you're trying to push your energy through like a purpose that is like one of the smaller purposes for you, right? So it's like trying to push more energy or through a smaller pipe. So things become harder. It's like, oh, I have to push through, right?
Yeah.
And here's the here's the issue with that is really tricky. This is really tricky. We have been rewarded our entire lives for pushing through, doing hard things, right? And if it's not hard, it's not worth it. So now we start thinking, just because it's really hard for me to do it this way, that must be the way I should do it, right?
Nope.
And it's so hard for me to get, when I start talking to my clients about this, it's like, yeah, they get it, but they don't get it. So we have to do a lot of like rewiring around that.
That's right. Because you can't get it till you get it. If that even makes sense. I don't even know if that makes sense, but I know what you're saying. All right. So I have another kind of out there question for you. So I don't know if you're following like a lot of the spiritual leaders and thought leaders out there around the simulation philosophy, that we're kind of like in this simulation. And like, think of it as, because you kind of talk a lot about like upgrading our operating systems. And so the thought is, well, first, kind of what the simulation theory even is?
Nope. Like, okay. It sounds like someone, okay, explain and I see if So
basically it's like people are saying that we're in kind of like this virtual reality, and it's like a simulation, like a playground for our souls to evolve. And we can choose like whatever reality we want. And just depends on kind of like how our nervous systems are functioning, because it's like kind of the code inside of us. And we have to learn to manipulate that code to manipulate our reality. And then like we'll be able to go into what some people call like this 3D reality that we're currently living in, into more of like a 4, 5, 6D reality. But to do this, we kind of have to like win at the video game that we're playing. And they're calling it, and I don't know if I did a good job like really explaining this, but that's what it's.
I've heard the concept. So I am not a spiritual leader. I'm a coach for leaders. Right? Yep. I have so many thoughts around this, and I'm not going to go there, because this is where it goes bad. When people say, I'm a spiritual leader, pay me $100,000 and I'll coach you. Now, like
get
that.
You out of the simulation that you're in? I'm just kidding.
Yes. And let me show you how to manipulate. Like, only that word makes me go like, oh, right?
Yeah.
So I don't do higher self-work. I do lower self-work. Yes. Because if you're like, why is the Leaning Tower of Pisa leaning? Because the foundation.
And so people who want to get to this next simulation, they really can't, because they're not grounded in Mother Earth.
If you want to believe you're an alien, I can't stop you. I cannot.
No, you cannot.
I cannot, right? But if you want to make sure that the growth that you're having is solid, connect with me, and we can do past engineering. And now you make some choices.
For this life, yes.
For this life, right? Because we can make this into a spiritual discussion, and I can use a lot of fancy words, and I have power of word. I can use that to draw you in, and I can use persuasion psychology, and I can give you a really cool offer and I can add some urgency, and now you will buy from me. I can do that. I choose not to.
This is why I love you. All right. So tell me just a little bit more about how you evolved from, I know like when we first met, I think even some of the stuff, like your earlier stuff that's online and things like that, is more about like EFT.
Yes.
And then you kind of evolved from that. And how do you still use, because I'm a huge believer in EFT. I teach it to my clients who come in just for quick, releases during tough situations. So just tell me a little bit about that evolution and how you still kind of utilize that theory.
the first insight, the first experience I had about the mind-body connection was actually when I read about heart coherence. And I had like severe heart palpitations, and I tried that. And it was like, whoa, like there's something to this, massive insight. And then I went on looking for something. I looked for EMDR, and I landed on Gary Craig's page. That was back in 2006. And I read his...
20 years ago, people.
20 years ago. So I've been tapping for 20 years, right? It's a tool that I love. And I went down into the rabbit hole. Like I'm a person with special interests, right? So I go into the rabbit holes. And I learned everything about tapping when, and I was so enthusiastic, and I started telling people about tapping, and I could see people just like glaze over, and I could see like their brain was going like, back away. And it was in a time when like on Wikipedia, there were people like making sure if anyone wrote something on Wikipedia that was positive about tapping, they would like fill it in because, I have a PhD and I went to this Ivy League university and I know, right? It was like massive, right? So it was tapping was kind of up there. And I was tapping for everything. And like in 3 years, I had, because I had this massive list with physical issues that I was, struggling with. And within 3 years, they were all gone.
It's amazing.
So I love the tool. However, when I say, I tap, people say, oh, I love tapping. Can you show me how to tap? And it's basically like what I do today. It's like if your neighbor, right, built this beautiful house and you go, oh, I want to build a house like that. And you go to them, you ring the doorbell, they come out and they say, oh, I want a house just like yours. Can I borrow your hammer?
Sure.
Right? That will take you far. So I don't lead with, I tap, because that's basically like saying, I have this amazing hammer. You should see what I'm able to do with it. Tapping is a tool. It's a craft, like it's a skill set, and it's an art. And depending on who you are and all of the knowledge that you have and how you're able to implement all of that knowledge and use the tapping and whatever, like you can use it in amazing ways, right? But you can give the basic tapping protocol to a 12-year-old and they can do really cool stuff with it. But they don't have the life experience. They don't have the wisdom. They don't have the understanding of like the entire being, right? So for me, like tapping for 20 years and in all sorts of, I worked with athletes. Like I had a client she did archery. And I remember like a Sunday, she was going to this tournament, right? Or like the Swedish, Swedish championship.
Archery, yeah.
Right? And she was like, oh, okay, I'll send you a message how it goes, right? And I forgot my phone back home. And then when I get back home in the evening, and I see this message from her, like, I got the gold medal, And it was so cool. And we only worked on like the emotional and the mental stuff around like actually performing and being embodied in the moment. Right? I've worked with stress management. I used to have a really cool workshop that was called Get Rid of an Idiot in 30 Minutes.
Oh, I love this one. Tell us about this one.
And once I did it, and I used to, invite people from work. I was working as well back then. Someone brought a friend, and like weeks later, this colleague of mine said, my friend that was at that workshop, she tapped for one of her colleagues. He never showed up for work. Like they never saw him again.
Word from this universe.
It was so funny. And we have no idea what happened. It was just such a funny story, right?
But it's like gave a frame, right? And then that's what reality happened for her, so she had a powerful experience.
And I've worked with, small business owners. I've worked with people in corporate on different levels, but it's like this big like puzzle of like all of these pieces coming together, and you see like, oh yeah, like this thing, and then if I do this, I want to, right? And so So I actually have started, like over the years, I started like my tapping protocol became more and more simplified. And then like years later, when I saw how Gary Craig was tapping, I was like, oh, interesting. He's made the same changes that right? Because there are some tapping people that see my tapping and they're going, you're doing it wrong.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but like when you know the tool really well, you know what to do with it. And you like way back when, right? In a different country, different lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I did tiles. I worked with tiles, right? Mm-hmm. And this old bricklayer that taught me, he said, first, I'm going to teach you how to do right. And then I'm going to teach you how to cheat the eye.
That's right. And that's where the wisdom comes in that you were talking about. Yes. And it's like with anything, the more wisdom that you have from lived experiences, the more you can bring that into the modality, whatever it is, whether it's tapping or like with me, it's hypnosis. Now I can kind of use what I know from all the wisdom I've had in my past and make it kind of unique to me and what my clients need. Intuitively, I can kind of feel that. Yep. And work with them, right? So every person's not going to get the same experience because they don't need the same experience.
And you know that person that's really brilliant and she's like really high level awareness and she knows that there's something really special about her heart, right? Mm-hmm. When I get a person like that, I don't have to do a lot of tapping because they are so like, they get it and they get it, right? So they bring things like they have this like, their energy is so straight. They have this massive ability to just get things done. And I had a client like that. And when she, like this amazing woman, she was working in corporate. She came from like nothing, had completely rebuilt her life on a different continent. And now she was in the C-suite room, right? And we did some really, really deep work because she had a lot of deep stuff that we needed to like heal. When she started making the connections in the C-suite room, and then she came like, she would go into the room, she would come back to me and she would say, yeah, this guy, he said this. And this guy, he said that. Give me the exact wording. Okay, what does he look like? Okay, you go back into the C-suite room and this is what you say, right? And she would come back, I said it, and they all went along with it, right? And she started out fighting for like, I know how to do these and these men are all stupid, right? And she could just walk into the room, be present because they have this presence about them. And we like, after a while, we didn't have to do a lot of tapping. It was just like, oh yeah, right. And the energy shifts.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Whereas with the inspirer, that charismatic leader, right? They are more like hard work. Mm-hmm. They can hold on and they can resist, right? Because they're going to win.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be right about this one, right? And maybe also, right, it depends also who is working with them. So like, I'm not the right choice for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody is. I do believe this. I just had this conversation with somebody else. Everybody in life has to find their right mentor and partner and the right modality that feels good for them in that time and space that they're in. Because maybe, 10 years ago, you would have never been the right person for me. But, where I am now, what I've learned, who I am, you came into my life at the right time and it is the right situation. And you have to keep an open mind through your whole life.
And you were even the right person for me to test some of my language and some of that. Like, remember when we met, when Ricky, when he connected us, I was like, okay, I need to pressure test this against some people that have this kind of experience. And I threw some documents. Can you please read this? Like, does this even make sense to you? And you're like, right? So that, I mean, like that's an evolution for all of us. We grow all the time, right? The only things that don't grow, they're dead.
That's right. Yeah. And we go through so many cycles. in our life of birth, death, rebirth, and over and over and over again. And the minute that you stop doing that, you are going to die.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And also like that cycle, this is what is so fun when you work with the nervous system. These cycles tend to be like 20 years.
Oh, now you taught me something new. Okay, I didn't know that.
But with tapping, you can shortcut them. You can like make them faster, right? So you can do like 2 or 3 cycles within a few years.
Yeah.
And that's a part of the capacity engineering work, right? That we can shortcut that the length of the time, because you have to push through and like build the awareness slowly. We can like, okay, here's the awareness. Want to do some tapping on this thing?
Yes. Let's do it. Right. Yes. Okay. Love it. All right. Cool. Okay. So the next kind of question I have is for listeners who are like, what can I do right now that you can give them, even if they can't work with you or something, just one little tip to start doing right now to either shortcut or, just get a better outlook, be more grounded, work on that lower, that kind of capacity, dig deep piece.
I would say bring your awareness down into your body and just feel where it lands. So for some people, it will be all the way down behind the belly button, right? Like that's where you have a massive energy. For some people, it will be the solar plexus. For some people, it will be the chest, right? And just start paying attention to that. And okay, I see so many people say, oh yeah, I feel everything in my heart. I would challenge them. Can you go deeper? Remember what happened when we went deeper?
Yes, I do.
So if you can, bring it even further down.
Okay. And then when they sit with that, is there anything you would tell them to go with or just kind of feel into it intuitively, start to ask themselves?
Just feel the sensation.
Yes.
Feel the emotion. If there is is there a physical sensation? Is there a color? Is there a temperature? Is there a quality? Does it feel like stone or a metal, or does it feel like a soft material? Like whatever you can find. And then just sit with that and then bring that up to awareness. Because here's the thing, we tend to think of the subconscious as a lower quality of consciousness. The thing is, it just doesn't have that access to language. When you bring it up to the brain, you can add language. Now we have words. It's really hard to understand something you do not have words for.
Yes, beautiful. Okay, that is great advice. Listen to that again and again, and this will change your life, I promise. All right, my last question for you. If you stripped away all of your titles, wife, daughter, friend, coach, all of that, who are you underneath it all?
There is a kid in there who loves to play, and there's this crazy brain that I like to call everything, everywhere, all at once, that just has a vivid imagination. Really I want to be adored. Please like me. If you like me, then I'll do anything for you.
I adore you, so you're doing something right.
So, it's just me. I don't have any titles. Really.
Yeah.
I don't even have letters after my name, right? I'm a layperson.
That it just learns and grows and has learned a secret, I guess, a secret sauce to help other people who find you.
And the magic of what happens when you can sit and hold space for someone and allow them. And I know that you know this, holding space for someone and allowing them to be them. And it's beautiful. Amazing, right? I have such an amazing time, even when we do the hard work. I really enjoy it because I know what's on the other side. And that's what allows me to be able to hold the space, right? Because there is nothing I will ask you to do that I haven't done for myself. So I can sit still and hold that for you. But I'm just me, right? And and question everything I tell you. Yeah, I hope you do, right? Because there's nothing more dangerous than just buying into someone's ability to use words and be impressive with their words. So like, if I say something that doesn't sound right, question it if you have to, or just walk away, right?
That's really good advice.
I don't want followers. I'm not a guru. I'm not a spiritual leader. But if you want to step up in who you are and have someone support you, challenge you, give you some guardrails so that you can play a bigger game, so that you can build taller, hey, I would love to have that conversation.
Yeah, I always tell my clients, and we'll leave it at this, to find 3 people that they can trust to be part of their board of directors for their life. And one of which is somebody like Monica, or somebody else. And then people who will not just be yes men, that will be able to challenge you, help you grow, become better and better in your life.
And that will not put you on a pedestal, right?
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
Oh, you're special. No, you're only as, like, everyone is special.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But you better take responsibility for that special thing that you do.
Yes. Yep. And fully own it. And you need people to challenge you and be there to support you. So, all right. That's all the questions I have. This has been amazing. Thank you so much, Monica. Thank you to the listeners for tuning in, and everybody, all of our audience, everyone, we love you so much. Hit the follow, like, whatever. It helps us out a lot. So thank you from Remember You, and we'll see you next time.